we were discussing this, and I was listening to all of you, and you already knew a lot of things, and it's so interesting to hear that some of our experiences are similar and some of them are different. And you see here, I'm waving my fingers here. You can see my fingers. and I mean, these things that you have to think about all the time. And I know because when we were doing our duet, Svend-Erik and me, I was sitting far away from the camera and far away from the microphone because I wanted to be comfortable. I wanted to sit in my sofa and I wanted to be able to wave my arms and my hands. And it was really nice and like low-key, and it didn't feel like it felt like we were having a conversation because there were the two pictures and we were just looking at each other and listening to each other. And the eye contact was kind of there because when one is telling the story, you can see the other person in the other picture, like looking at that person, you can kind of see the listening. And it was no problem because I think also because I was far away from the camera. And then exactly where you put your eyes doesn't matter so much. But then we wanted to do this, some kind of project with a Danish teaching, like, what would you call it? Like a teaching tool that would be online. And then that man, he said, oh, but you have to have this direction, like this situation from the camera, and the microphone has to be like this, and you have to have, oh, not so many things. These are too many things. You cannot have that background, and you cannot have that. It has to be like this, and you have to be at the same, oh. And suddenly we started to be conscious about this and started to think about, oh, should I look in the camera when I'm talking, or should I look at the people when I'm talking, or should I just forget about this and just have my story here where I usually have it? I mean, if I tell a story to a live audience, I will invite them in my story. I will like bring them in and I will keep them here and they will be with me whenever I have a baby or whenever there is a forest growing or something, they will be with me. But now the forest will grow outside of the camera and all these things will happen. And how do I have to think about this? And since we were starting to discuss this, because we tried to record that after the duet, we started to record that story of the lindorm, and we recorded it in Swedish Danish first, and then we were doing it in English. And we were like, how tired were we when we did that in English? We were like, I don't know, because we started to think too much. We were, I don't know, overthinking. Should I be looking here? Should I be doing this? And then, okay, but if we have the split screen and we are that situation, I will look at this direction and I will be looking slightly in your direction and you are going to be sitting there and you can look. But then when you record it, it's not going to be like that, because one person is going to look that direction and the other person is also going to look that direction out of the screen. And it was like completely, I don't know, we were like throwing the cameras and everything out of the windows after a while. And I think, so these things are interesting because we want to do things the good way. And after that, I have been looking at so many, I mean, I've been looking at things that some of you have done and thinking and thinking and thinking, and maybe thinking too much, but sometimes you have to think too much and come back and have to say, okay, I don't care, but maybe I have to care a little bit, because I have to think, if I'm going to have a baby on screen, then it has to be up here. I cannot have it here because no one will realize. Or if something is happening, it has to happen in this frame, or else I have to move away from the camera somehow.
I would actually suggest, if that's all right with you, Anna, I don't steal the show. Is that all right for you? That you will show different possibilities of this baby scene, if we can work a little on this, because it's actually a very beautiful scene in the story. When I've seen Anna doing this many times online, in real life, and it's one of the highlights of the story. When you have this moment, you stop. You have a very quiet moment in the story, and you just stand there with a little baby. Can you try to show us that little part, Anna? Would it be difficult or?
No. Yeah, I have to. I think. Yeah. So we are in the situation where the queen is in the birth chamber with the midwife, and she's pregnant, and she's going to have her baby that has been longing for a very long time. But the first thing that happens, because she didn't, of course, listen to the wise people that were advising her on how to have this baby, she didn't follow the rules. So the first thing that happens is that she gives birth to a little snake. And that snake, we know, is going to happen. There's going to be a lot of drama about that snake. But that snake just slithers down and hides in her bed. But like 1 minute after that, she has a baby, and it's a perfect little baby boy. Finally, there is an heir, and the king can relax and rejoice, and so can the whole court and the people of the country. And everyone, something like that. I were somewhere.
Can you move the camera a little bit away?
Yes, I will try. So, first she had the little snake that hid in the covers. And after that, she gave birth to a perfect little baby boy, a prince. And the king rejoiced, and the court and the people were so happy because finally they had an heir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any comments?
Did anyone else, I mean, obviously you can see the gestures better, but for me the emotion was clearer in the first one.
Closer.
You saw my face closer, or?
Yeah. Yeah, and because we got a little bit of, we still got the idea of the baby being there, but because your face was closer, I got the emotion was much stronger in the first one. I got this proper reaction, whereas in the second one, I didn't get that.
I think also the first one, the way that you kind of looked, you were looking at the baby, and then you looked up a bit more directly at the camera at the end. Whereas the second one, it was just the very last glance. And I think that also helped for me to connect to it as well.